Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be coming live today with one of my favorite astrologists and Akashic Record teachers, Kara Melendy, and I'm so happy to have her here. Her and I have been friends for years now, even though we've never actually got to meet in real life.
Not
We're
yet.
both, I know, not yet. One of these days. We're both Canadians, but we happen to live on opposite ends of Canada. She's way on the east end and I'm way on the west end. So one day maybe we'll have to figure something out to actually get to hang out. But Kara
Absolutely.
came to me a couple of weeks ago and was talking about Akashic Records and how we can work with the Akashic Records to support profitability and abundance in our business. And I just got super excited. You guys know that my passion is to be able to work with our energetic tools in business. So when Kara wanted to talk about this stuff, I am like, yes, please, let's talk about it some more. So Kara, do you want to just take a second and maybe share with us like how you got on this path of integrating business with the Akashic?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me, Megan. And it is always so fun to reflect back. Like, when did we meet? We've been connected for quite a while now. So it's always fun to do these live streams together. And I know your background with numerology just works so well with the records and with astrology as well. So it's just really cool to see how those things align. Yeah. So I guess for anybody that's new to me, my name is Kara. I do work within the Akashic Records. I work with astrology as well. And I love supporting light workers and healers in connecting with this energy in a way that creates that growth and expansion in their business. And for me, when I first started working in the records, it was a huge turning point for my business. And I still remember when I had reached out to a teacher at that time for a reading. And it wasn't even specifically focused around my business. It was actually just something else that had come up in my personal life I wanted insight on. But just from being in that space, I noticed like huge shifts happening in my business after that point. It was really incredible, just like the clarity that came in, the downloads that came in. And I knew there was something there that I wanted to lean into a little more. I just want to check too, if you're hearing an echo on your side, I want to make sure the audio is good. I'm kind of hearing a little echo.
Are you hearing an echo? Okay, I'm going to make sure
Mhm.
that I don't have anything open in the background. Does that make a difference?
You sound good. I remember this happened last time too. So you sound good, but I can kind of hear my voice
Oh,
echoing a little bit. I can't remember what I did last time that helped.
it was ear pods last time. Did you have,
I don't
do you have
have
air?
them in
You
this
don't have
time.
them
I'm
in.
gonna move my computer closer,
Okay.
closer to the screen and see if that makes sometimes that helps a little bit as well, just closer to the audio. But yeah, after working in the records, I noticed just the clarity that came in for like the message that I'm here to do, that like share with the world, the clients I'm here to work with. It was amazing, all this insight. And it was like to the point where I decided I have to learn more about the records. So I ended up getting certified. And now years later, I certify other people in the records as well. And one of the first things I found in the records that my spirit team shared with me is that we actually have a unique blueprint and records for our business as well, which is really amazing. And learning to connect with that can bring so much clarity on the work that we're here to do in the world. So everything that I kind of receive clarity on, like the soulmate clients, the message we're here to speak into the world, the programs we're here to share, like there's just so much clarity that can come through when we learn to connect with that energy.
I love that. I love that so much. And this is the really cool thing is there's so many ways that we can all work with these different tools because I work with soulmate clients through the lens of numerology, but I also work with the Akashic Records to develop numerology content. And so
Mhm.
it's really important to know that as you're on this journey, there's various different tools and modalities you can study along the way. And you'll learn how to work with them in such a way that works with your energy patterns and your signature, which I love. Do you think you could just maybe even like a little bit from scratch, like what are the Akashic Records?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
anyone that's new, right? Like, what are they? So the
Yeah.
Akashic Records are the unique journey of our soul throughout lifetimes and different incarnations. So they bring us back to our blueprint. So
Mm.
our soul gifts, our soul path, what we are here to be a channel for in the world. So when we're connecting with the records, it brings us back to that soul frequency and our soul signature. And that's where it can be one of the reasons such a game changer in our business, because it creates that foundation where we are connected to our truth. And when we have that, from there, we're led to the right strategies, to the right programs, to the right mentors. But I find it all begins with having that solid foundation of this is my path,
Mm.
because we all do have a unique path, and the records really highlight that. Like, they really highlight how it makes no sense to compare our journey to anyone else's. Like, I'm sure, Megan, you've probably experienced that with the records as well, because we begin to see like we incarnate with different intentions, different things that we're here to experience, different ways that our soul wants to grow and evolve. So it really helps us honor what that path looks like for us. It brings us kind of back to our truth, and just also transcending the belief systems or limitations that we can pick up in our human experience that can be in the collective energy. It helps us really rise above all of that and also see like a larger perspective, a bird's eye view. And also through our records, it's a way to connect back to our spirit team. So angels, our divine teachers, loved ones who have transitioned that are here to support our journey, our ancestors, like there's so much support there. And it can also help us deepen our connection with our higher self as well.
I love that. I love that so much. There's a few things about that that I think get me really excited because, as you know, my background's in business and economics. That's what I studied in university. And I really love whenever we are presented with these opportunities to create our patterns, our business, our systems,
Mhm.
our trainings, whatever it is, in our own unique way. Because when we do that, we actually step out of the competitive environment and create
Mhm.
a completely different way of doing business that allows for connection and collaboration and partnership. And it's so much more freeing when you realize I'm not the same as anyone else. I'm
Mhm.
unique. And therefore, that actually provides even more space for collaboration and connection and all those wonderful things.
Love that. It's so true. We are all unique. And that was one of the things early on in my business. And I actually find with so many people now, they say they get overwhelmed or confused with all these different strategies. They're like, one mentor said, do it this way. Someone else recommended something else. And then they get in the space of feeling overwhelmed, confused, and maybe not taking any action at all because you're not sure where to focus. And working with your records and your blueprint can bring you back to like, well, what's most aligned for you? And there's many paths that we can succeed. It's not like mentors and coaches are sharing something that's incorrect. It probably works really beautifully for them. It just may or may not work for you. And yeah, and like you said, Megan, just kind of finding like our uniqueness, our spark, our magnetism, which is so key for business. When we are really aligned with that, I find we do become magnetic.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other kind of really fun side effect I see coming out of this work is that the more you understand that uniqueness within yourself, using tools like what Kara's sharing around the Akashic Records in your astrology, around numerology, or any other tool that you might be using, the more you understand who you are and what your uniqueness is, the
Mm.
more confident you become. And then the confidence becomes this like snowballing effect where I know what's for me and I
Mhm.
know what's not for me. And it's so much easier to make those really intuitive decisions as you grow, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's so key, I find, like just to have that connection with our intuition, and the records can absolutely help us strengthen that as
Yeah.
well. And just knowing how our intuition speaks to us, making it so that voice of our intuition is louder. So we're able to hear it with greater ease. And I see our intuition as being connected to our soul truth. And I also see our intuition as a connection to our subconscious mind. So it holds a lot of wisdom that we may not consciously have access to moment to moment. So the more connected we are to our intuition in business, the more we're going to be able just to more easily know the path for us, more easily move through obstacles. It doesn't mean there isn't challenges. I find being connected to our blueprint there, it's going to stretch us outside of our comfort zone. It's going to get us to confront our fears big ways, because our business is also that vessel for our growth and our expansion. So we will confront our fears, we will confront those doubts, but it's this sense of like there's alignment behind it.
Yeah.
Even if there is those challenges, and even if it does stretch us, it still becomes this feeling of, but I'm on track. This is my path. It's just that sense of like, this feels right, even if it's a little scary.
Right. I love that too, because I think like, as much as we might think we want just complete lack of challenge in our life, most
Yeah.
of the time we came here because we want to grow, right? And what is the thing that creates that like excitement to move forward and motivation to move forward?
Absolutely.
The other question I really want to know is like, when you work with the Akashic Records in business, how do you see this relating to people growing their business or creating more money, more income? Right? Because I think cash flow is a thing right now, right?
Right? It's so important. And I love to share on that and the energetics of money and breaking through limiting beliefs around money. The records can help us so much with that, because even just taking the money idea first, like we pick up a lot of beliefs around money in the collective or early on in our life that don't necessarily serve us. And those first 7 years of our life, that's when we are really creating our belief system and our belief system around money as well. So, how our parents responded to money, how we see other people interacting with money, and then that becomes part of our belief system. And some of those beliefs may serve us really well, others may be disempowering. Like beliefs that money is hard, right? Or, we all know those sayings, money doesn't grow on trees, like, or these ideas that there's only a few people who get to have money, or we can't do what we love and earn for it. Like all these beliefs that really aren't helpful, especially if we want to have a business. We can't be holding on to those old, outdated belief systems. So the records help us see things in a new way. They can help us explore that those beliefs are not absolute truths. They may be what people have taken on or thought was true, but it's not an absolute truth. And if it doesn't empower us or align with our vision, then it's probably best to release it and let it go. And the records can help us see things in a new way by aligning us with our highest path. So I also see this as like seeing through the eyes of our higher self and beginning to align with what our higher self knows to be true when it comes to money and when it comes to abundance, and really being able to explore that. And the records work on questions as well. So we can really open the records and ask questions that expand us into new possibilities. So, what is my highest path for money? How am I called to be of service to the world? And we begin to play in that energy of infinite possibility instead of being boxed in or limited by those belief systems.
I love that. I think that's one of my favorite things that I hear you say a lot is to take on that idea or that belief and to kind of measure it against what that
Mm.
vision is that you have. And if it's not in support of it, then can you just give yourself permission to not keep it, to let it go, to release it? And I think it sounds so simple, but yet it's so powerful and it can be scary, right?
Mhm. It can.
Yeah. So how do we work with the records around those like insecurities that come up or fears that come out like, could this be for me? Or I see other people doing it, but is it possible for me?
Mm. Yeah, I think part of that is recognizing as human, we all have those fears. Like every single person has doubts and fears. So I think the practice is we don't empower or give life to those doubts and fears. So we recognize that just because I have this doubt of can I really do it? is it possible for me? It doesn't mean it's not possible. And we don't have to make those doubts and fears bigger than they are. And that's really a practice of kind of noticing these beliefs, but reminding ourselves this is not an absolute truth. I don't have to grasp onto it. And what feels better for me? Like even asking that question, what feels more aligned? What would feel a little better? And just using, that specific belief of it's not possible for me. It could even be looking at things you've currently created in your life that at one time you thought weren't possible. So we're strengthening that belief that even though I may think something is hard or challenging, it doesn't mean that I can't move through it. In fact, I have lots of evidence that I can. It could also be just surrounding ourselves with people that are creating in the world what we also desire to create, and using that to strengthen our belief system. So not in a way where we are comparing, but allowing certain people to maybe inspire us and to say that if they're doing that, then I can do that too, and allow that to really strengthen our beliefs. So what I often say as well, and like one of the affirmations I have, is I allow my vision to be greater than my fears. And every day it's like feeding that vision until that gets to be so much bigger than the doubts and fears that they just feel smaller. It doesn't mean that they necessarily go away, but they just don't feel as powerful anymore. Like I can even kind of get a sense of it in my energy fields. It's like they may be there, but they're more distant. And the vision and the belief in what I'm able to do becomes louder and bigger. But that it really is through practice. And I think the records can accelerate that process because it really helps us see through the illusion. Like the doubts and fears are also the illusion. And it helps bring us back to the truth of who we really are, how powerful we are, what we are able to create.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much that that's a message that you share so much about, in from the records and from your astrology work. And it's so complementary to what we talk about in numerology that, all these illusions that we've bought into over the years, they're, they're illusions, right? The challenges and the struggles and all of that, they're actually potentially portals for opportunity. So that's one of the challenges I love to look at. Um, but maybe let's talk about that for a little bit. How do you use the records to navigate challenges when you're struggling? And, sometimes those challenges feel so real, right?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to move through this? This is real. Like whether it's like I'm struggling, I need, some extra money to pay a bill, or I'm struggling because I put an offer out there and maybe the clients aren't, saying yes to it, or, whatever the thing is that feels so like, this
Yeah.
feels real. This doesn't just feel like mindset.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it is. I mean, it's a lived experience. And I think it's seeing it as an opportunity for expansion. So kind of what you spoke to, Megan, it's like portals of opportunity. And I think that's a huge mindset shift that's so important for our business is when those obstacles or challenges come up. If we can get to a point where we feel excited about who am I invited to become in order to move through this, that is huge. Or how can I think about this in a new way? How can I get really creative about rearranging how I show up, how I talk about this offer, like getting excited, seeing it as an activation? I think that is key. And that has helped me so much throughout my business, trusting that it all serves me. Because in business, it is normal. I think no matter how far along we are, and I've seen this with other coaches as well, it's like there can still be things that we put out there that don't perform the way we thought, the way our ego had planned. But it also, so seeing it as an activation and opportunity to learn and grow, that is key. And also putting it in perspective, the records help us see the bigger picture. So our human self gets caught in all of the details, but the records can really help us see how it is supporting our growth and how the success of our business is so much bigger than how one thing performs. So a lot of it really is that mindset work. And I think the records help us really have a mindset that's aligned to possibility and aligned with how our higher self is seeing things instead of a mindset that can keep us stuck and just, again, like a feeling of being disempowered. That's usually how I know with a belief. If it disempowers me, if it doesn't align with my vision, then it's not helpful. and I get to choose something else. And I think that's how we can know, like a belief that's aligned with our higher self isn't going to put us in a state of fear. It isn't going to take us away from our power. It isn't going to move us further away from our vision. It's going to help us align with what we're here to do.
Oh, I mean, I love this so much. This like if it feels disempowering, then I
Mhm.
get to choose something else. And it's such a simple statement and it's like really feeling into it. It's so potent and so powerful just to
Mhm.
even try that on through some of those like sticky times or bumpy times.
Right.
Mhm.
And it is a practice, like you said, to say it sounds so simplistic, but I think for all of us on our human journey, it is like a lifetime of mastering it. But I find it does get easier over time because we can actually rewire our brain to
Yeah.
see things in a new way. So kind of the way our brain is set up is to keep us from danger. I remember in my psych days learning about that, like our brain is kind of programmed to see danger and to react to it. So we literally have to rewire it and train it to think in a different way. And then over time, we can really prime our brain to see opportunity, to more easily shift into best case scenario rather than worst case scenario. And it really is with practice, like noticing those thoughts, choosing in the moment, and in the records as well, aligning to different timelines. So there's different paradigms of reality that exist, and the records can really help us align to a timeline where we're not, I mean, I don't really like the word victim, but like a victim
Mhm.
to those thoughts or
Mhm.
beliefs. Like it aligns us to a new possibility, and we really get used to like embodying a frequency that feels more empowering and actually more aligned to our truth.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So if someone's working to grow their business with the Akashic Records, where do we start? What would be like a place to kind of focus first?
Yeah, there's so many ways, but what I like to do is help people connect to the blueprint of their business. So we have a records, which is our journey of the soul, but I do see our business as separate. So our business is a separate energy, a separate consciousness, which is also helpful to remember because as spiritual entrepreneurs, I think we become very intertwined with our business, and we can sometimes think our worth and value is dependent on how our business is doing, but really we are separate. And our business may be a big part of our path and purpose. For many people it is. I feel it's a big part of mine, but it's not the only. Like there's other things that are part of our life journey as well. So I actually see it as a separate energy. So it's learning to connect with the frequency and blueprint of our business, getting used to what that vibration is. And when I guide people on journeys, I like to bring in a visual. So I often work with like a crystalline pyramid that I'll get people to connect with and see that as the representation of the blueprint of their business. And then in that space, guide them to explore the different aspects. So if you enter the pyramid, just the overall energy, the colors, the frequency, which can really be reflected in your branding as well. It can actually give a lot of insight into the world you create that people step into when they see your work. And then in the pyramid, there's different rooms. So you can go into a room and gain more insight on your soulmate client, on your messaging, on different programs. They each have a unique energy as well. So learning to explore those different aspects of your business. And it's just such a beautiful process that over time really activates and enhances your intuition as well. But it helps you know pretty quickly what's aligned and what isn't in your business. And it's still, our human self still has to do the work of saying yes to what's aligned, no to what isn't. And from the records, there's never any judgment, but it really fine tunes our ability to gain that clarity on what we are here to do and what we are here to share with the world. So it's a practice over time, learning to connect with that energy and with that blueprint, but it's something we're all able to do. Like just as it's our birthright to access our records, we all have the ability to do that. We all have the ability to access the energy and consciousness of our business. And I see many entrepreneurs kind of speaking of this and awakening to this idea of like, wow, my business seems like a separate energy and consciousness. And the records is just a way to explore that and connect with that more deeply.
Yeah. I love how you say that it's our birthright and that we all have the capacity to do that, right?
Mhm.
Like that it's
Yeah.
possible for all of us. We just have to maybe learn the tool or work through the skill or start to believe it's possible.
Right.
We're getting some questions come in. Somebody's asking, how do you connect with the Akashic Records?
So there's many different ways to do this. I have a technique that I work with that I love. It's like a longer kind of meditative practice, but at the core, it's really connecting into our central column of light. So letting go of like any programs, things we've picked up from other people, coming back to our blueprints. So it's like a meditation to come back to that space, connecting into Mother Gaia. So connecting into the ethers, kind of feeling into that column of light. And then I also bring in the power of sound. So I sound the 5 sacred ohms to actually open and access our records, and using your full name to access your records. And then when we're in that space to access your business, we use the name of your business. If you don't yet have a business, it's still the energy and the intention is there. So we call forward that. So there's many ways you can access the records. I think at the core of all of them is really initially relaxing our physical body and getting into like a relaxed state and connecting into that higher realm of consciousness. So transcending the ego. Other ways that I've seen people do this is through the soul star chakra. So I also bring in work with the chakras, but our soul star is about 6 inches above the crown of our head. And that's another access point into the records as well.
Yeah. Beautiful. And you have a free training coming up on this, don't you?
I do.
I love it because your trainings are so valuable. I didn't even message you to tell you this, I don't think, but I was hiking for a couple weeks ago and I binge watched the last training you did in your community. And it was so, so, so powerful. So for those of you listening to this call, live or replay, go and join Kara's Facebook group. She's got a Facebook group where she live streams tons of really great content. But then you also have another training coming up that people can be attending live.
Yes. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Megan. I love that you enjoyed it. And that always is so important to me with free trainings that I give really high value. I know some people don't because it's free, but I never saw it that way. Like I really want people to have deep transformation through coming into this space, and I really honor their time. So the training that's coming up is the energetics of a multiple 6-figure soul-led business. So we'll be
I'm like, can we just applaud that title for a second? The energetics of a multiple 6-figure soul business. I love it.
Thank you. And so we'll be talking a lot about wealth energetics, bringing in the frequency of wealth in your business, and of course, soul led. I'm really like emphasizing soul led because it's about coming back to your soul blueprint. So we'll be talking more about the Akashic Records, working in that space to grow your business as well. And just coming back to learning to honor like your soul path, because having that foundation will be key for your business, because there's always changes in the industry. We see it constantly. There's changes on social media, and that's okay. Like when we have a foundation of knowing who we are, what we're here to do, what our message is, and we know how supported we are, like we are unstoppable and we navigate all those changes. So I really want to help people do that as well. Just come back to their truth and have a foundation that can help you continue to grow and expand in your business and make money doing what you love. I love to see soul-driven leaders receiving for their work, not struggling, not feeling guilty around charging, but being open to receiving.
We are so on the same page with that mission. I always say it's my like super secret, not so secret mission is that people who have these big hearts and these soul gifts to share can be really supported financially to do so. So I love, love, love that you're sharing this content free. I love that it's so empowering. So everybody listening, sign up for it. Listen to Kara's trainings. They're gold. I'll be listening to probably while I'm out on a hike because I just find that such a great way to receive my content. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out either to myself or Kara. Pop in the chat. I am an affiliate of Kara's because I've been connected with her over the years. I've had many of my clients attend both numerology and Kara's trainings and just love them, get so much. Very, very complimentary. And join her community. It's a really, really great community. There's incredibly supportive people there. And like I said, you can go back and see all the live streams she's done in the past, and they are gold.
There's a lot you can binge watch right away leading up to the training that we'll be doing starting in about a week from today, next Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll post the link so that you guys can sign up for it. There's a registration link, and we'll also post a link to Kara's community. Be sure to add Kara as a friend on Facebook so you can see what she's up to. And Kara, I just really want to thank you. Thank you for coming in and sharing your wisdom. It's always such a pleasure to get to connect with you. And I just love what you're sharing with everyone right now. It's so valuable.
Oh, thank you so much, Megan. It's always a pleasure to connect with you, and I really enjoy our conversations. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.